I gotta go, TK. I gotta go.
We got podcasts to film, podcasts to record, people to see,
We got things to do.
places to be.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Is there? I heard the Treb numbers came out at the end of February on Friday. I mean, I know that they came out, not just I heard about it, but
I imagine you heard about
everyone's like, the dead cat bounce.
The dead cat bounce,
the false
or the
bottom
bull trap?
Oh no, it's a bull trap. Oh no,
which is it?
It's what everybody thinks it is.
Which is?
People still need to buy housing, okay, for the month of February.
Are we
and
back
then we'll
there
see
again?
what happens in March, okay? What do you want me to say? Who's got the crystal ball?
Nobody has a friggin' clue
People
what's going on
needed to buy
right
housing
now.
in February. The numbers are there. That's all
This
I can
is
report
insanity.
on. You want stats? Go check out Santo's channel. He's got more stats than us.
There is something in the stats that confused me, and maybe it's probably just me, and I'll end up looking even more foolish than normal by mentioning this. But like, I don't know if you have the numbers in front of you, but there's like, can you? I don't want to put them up because then I got to edit even more, which I try and avoid if possible. By the way, there's so many people that haven't subscribed to the channel that watch this thing. Like, I don't get that. If you watch regularly, like, just come on, press the subscribe button. Like, what holds you back?
I subscribe to every YouTuber that I watch. If I watch the video and I'm like, that's cool, I subscribe. Like, why would I not subscribe? It makes no sense to just rely on YouTube to tell me what I should or shouldn't see. I should be looking at the stuff that I want to see.
But there's like a group of people that watch channels regularly and watch their stuff regularly that just don't subscribe.
They're unsubscribers. They're
maybe it doesn't matter.
They're non-subscribers.
I'll tell you what, the proof is actually in the pudding that it doesn't matter, because in case you have ADD, we've started another channel. You may not know about it. It's the Canadian Real Estate Show Clips, and TK, like, it's on fire, man. Like, it's getting a ton of views.
Regular content.
Without any subs, really, which is crazy. Really crazy. So
we're gonna build this channel to be the biggest channel ever with very little subs.
With very little subs.
Well, you guys should subscribe and prove us wrong.
Yeah, like, just do it. Anyways, so we've got that, TK, and
tell me about it.
Well,
you just did. I guess that was.
I guess I did. I mean, I don't want to boast, but like, some of the videos are getting as good as our main channel's views. Like, it's got half as many views already in the last 28 days than our other channel, which is crazy. Anyway, so if you've got ADD like me, and you want to see us in smaller doses and more concentrated topics, then check that thing out. Give us a subscribe over there if you're not going to give us one over here.
Yeah, and I got a channel too that I'm going to be launching soon.
Nice.
It's going to be for agents only, though.
Only
everyone
agents.
else will find it. We'll find it very boring.
Is that the one that you started last time?
I'm either going to spin it off of that, or it's going to be a new one. I was in talks with the management this week, so we'll have to get back to you. We're going to have a couple board meetings about this.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's pretty big.
I keep meaning to do more on my other channel, but I never do.
Your channel's so funny, but it's so much work. You can tell how much work you put into it. It's so funny, though.
This is easy because you and me, we just talk about what we're interested in. So this just happens.
Did you press
naturally.
record? Are we recording?
I think so.
Okay, we're recording.
But when it's my stuff, I feel like this pressure to like constantly come up with like more good shit. And the truth is there isn't that much good shit here, right? I just like to talk. That's my good shit.
That's my good shit.
But you know what? It's crazy. People are calling me from Twitter. I'm having like Zoom calls with people asking me questions.
Twitter had phones. I thought they just DM'd.
No, but I got calls from agents this week. Okay. This is what I really wanted to start off with, TK. Okay. Because this was crazy. Do you remember the folks that came to my door a few weeks ago? The realtors?
Who dropped the ball.
Well, I mean, they keep following up with me, right? And so I got a text.
Keeping the ball going.
They're keeping the ball going. The follow-up is impeccable, I must say.
Good.
The CMA they provided for me was absolute horseshit, but that's okay. I mean, they're trying, right? They're trying.
Yeah.
Do you knock on doors, by the way?
I haven't knocked on doors.
You're kind of busy,
a long
right?
time.
Yeah. Okay. Because you're busy.
I did. I knocked on the doors.
You knocked on them when you were
knocked on the doors for years. Yep, I did.
Yeah. So okay. So anyway, so they send me a text like, we got to talk to you. We got some important news we need to share with you. Right? Are you available for a call? And I was like, oh, like I can't resist.
75 people got that same text today.
I can't resist.
Yeah.
And so of course, like I want to hear what they have to say, and I'm really thinking like, should I record this for the show? Because this would be great. Right.
Yeah.
Or should I invite them on the show? But I think TK,
tell them you want a Zoom meeting with them and then just record it.
Well, I see. I thought of all these things. Okay. But TK, like, part of the appeal of the whole situation is that they don't understand that I know a little bit more about real estate than most people, that they would just knock on their door, right? And so we get in all these discussions about how bad realtors are and how they don't know what they're doing, at least from this side of the screen, right? And I was in a faux space on Thursday, and all the realtors were just raking on other realtors and how shit realtors
it's part of the realtor MO, you know, you got to rake on other realtors.
Well,
that's how you get the business. Don't go with that guy.
Well, I mean, everybody's kind of upset about how the pricing strategy and the bidding wars, but we'll get into all that after. So anyway, so they want to talk to me, and obviously they're not the best realtors in the world, but they want to talk to me. They keep following up, which is great. And I need this not only for my soul, but for the show, TK, right? Because I figure there's going to be a story here. So anyways, I tell them I can speak the next day, and boom, they're on it. And they call me instantly, like 3 o'clock on the nose. There's some technical difficulties with the conference call. Listen, nobody's perfect, right? So we start talking, and he's like, man, the market is on fire. It's like last year again. Last year in February. And so I was like last year in February, like it's about to crash hard next month again, or like booming hot. And he's like, it's crazy. And there's no inventory in your area. And like the last house that sold was like shit compared to your house. Right. And like, there's just nothing. And I think, you know, we can get you a lot of money for your house right now, because yours would be like the best house for sale in the neighborhood. And he's like, how much would you want for your house? And of course, what's my answer, TK?
The highest price possible.
Thank you. What do you think you can get for this house, right? And he gives me a number. And I'm like, bro, like not only, okay, if you work this hard to get somebody on the phone and you're trying to list their house, like type their name into Google, okay? And like, at least do that amount of research. Okay. Now, if you're a realtor, you can go even deeper and you can do all kinds of research. Like maybe, when did I buy my house and what did I pay for it? Right. Before you throw some stupid number out. Right. Because the number is like a loss. Right. So it's like, what's enticing about this phone call? That the market's hot and you're going to get me less money than I've put into this thing?
Yeah.
But this is what's going on out there. So what if they hit like the right person who needs to sell right now and gets all excited?
They do. I can attest to door knocking being a very great way to meet people who own houses. And eventually one of those people is going to be the person who needs to sell. And as long as you do the follow up, it's not usually knock on the door. Hey, you want to sell? Okay. Unless you had a buyer for them or something like that, but that was really old school. That it's not as common anymore, right? But the main thing would be follow up. So you knock on the door, you put them in your database. Now you're keeping in touch with them, and they just become a part of your life. And it could be years later that you are selling them their house because you're a part of their life. You met them on the front porch, right?
Did you keep a straight face for so long? Yeah, no, you're right. It's a great way. And you know what? Like, more often than not, there isn't somebody that's just kind of stringing you along for content, right? Sometimes you actually hit somebody or you make a connection, or I mean, I don't know these days who, okay. Yeah.
Want a story?
Yeah. One of them.
Okay. So, last night in the middle of the storm, I had clients move out of their house last minute.
Oh,
I'm going to try to tell this story in the best light possible. They were approached by a door knocker many, many months ago. And this door knocker was there to sell their home and wanted them to sell their home for much less than what they thought it was worth. Now, these guys had a lot of issues at their house. The house had a lot of problems. And once the door knocker was able to get inside the house, he was no longer as interested in helping them because he realized that it would be a tough job. Okay. So naturally, they called one of our ads, and I was the one who was assigned to them to be able to help them get them back on track. So we got the property sold. Everything went well. They were happy. We're supposed to move on Wednesday. Wednesday is coming, Darryl. They don't have a
Wednesday.
They don't have a place to go.
They don't have a place to go. What have they been doing?
I know, but that's their, I've been helping them as much as I've ever helped anybody in my career.
So what's the issue? Why can't we find a place?
They've got some issues. So that's the bottom line. Again, I'm trying to keep this as neutral as possible here. They got obstacles to mountains to jump over to get to the next chapter of their life. And so we were able to get an extension till Friday. And the Friday was coming, and I was like, what's going on? What's like,
Friday?
Don't have a place. Was there any packing or anything like that? And so yesterday we're negotiating another extension. And the buyer says,
when? Monday?
So we said Tuesday at first.
Ooh,
then the buyer said, no problem, Tuesday, but $10,000.
For sure.
And so then we said, okay, a $10,000 holdback. We'll do what you want us to do, but we want to the following Monday because we need time. They said, we'll give you till Wednesday.
Sure. 15,000.
Well, it was the 10 still. So I thought, you know what? You can't do
missed opportunity there, TK.
At 4 p.m., we ordered the movers, and we found the best damn movers in the city that have ever existed. I'm going to shout out this guy right now at 4 p.m. on a Friday, the beginning of the month.
After he finished a day. After he finished another day of work.
Right before a snowstorm, Mr. Iman, who can be found at 647-677-7501 from fastmove.ca, was the hero in all of East York, Leslieville area. This guy sent 3 workers at a reasonable rate, no surprises, to work their tail off. I got the storage locker down the street for them. They moved everything. I got a hotel for them in the middle of a snowstorm, Ubered them over there, got it all done. And now today we're going to figure things out where things need to go.
TK.
Yeah.
What the hell, bro? You sold me this house. You should come. You want to help fix the fence?
Yeah.
You're such a nice guy. Holy cow. Look at all that work you did.
I did this all from home remotely, right? Except for having to go get the hotel. I had to leave my house for that.
Did you hire a AI assistant or some kind of
no, everything's pretty remote. Even the locker people let me check in remote. This guy let me pay through e-transfer. Everybody let me do everything I needed to do to make this coordinate work.
What a beautiful thing. When somebody has the will to get something done, isn't it a beautiful thing? Look at you, TK.
In a snowstorm.
Moving mountains. This is no ordinary storm. That thing was crazy.
That was crazy last night. Right?
It is crazy. You should see. I had to carry my dog out to the sidewalk in 2 feet of snow just to like give her a walk this morning.
So the door knockers are great people. And when I was a door knocker, I wasn't the best agent. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was going around because I had no business, and I was trying to find people who wanted to sell, and I was going to figure it out one way or another. That's sort of the door knocking plan. There was an article in CBC about a guy up in North Bay buying privately. And he said, he bought a private home where he got to go into the property and he got to see, talk to the seller directly, and he got to be able to have like all the negotiations done. And he felt like he saved commission, and the seller felt like they saved commission. So everybody was happy. Right. And of course they interview realtors to say why this all can go bad, because that's a realtor's job, is to, sell our side of things.
Well,
right?
but so the point really of the story is more the narrative that was pitched than anything. And like, I think there's probably like, I mean, if you look at my Twitter feed and if I even read the mainstream articles that are out there, you would say you would definitely think that there's a resurgence here in the market that's going pretty bananas. Like,
Yeah.
I'm seeing people talking about sales over peak pricing in Vancouver. I don't know.
Maybe Vancouver, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know
like
anything
so
about Vancouver, but it's not happening in Toronto.
townhouses in Mississauga. I don't know. People are sending factual data, at least
I
for
got a new
today.
listing coming up Monday, and we'll see. I got an offer date set on it.
What are you
4-bedroom
seeing?
bungalow in Etobicoke.
Are you not seeing that it's like bidding wars
100% I
everywhere
am,
in
but
crazy,
not
Crazyville?
not prices are significantly higher. They obviously went up, and the numbers came up, and numbers are higher than they were in
It
January.
came up pretty sharp.
I know. I'm just saying that there's a lot of other things that, you might want to look at there, right? Is, what segment of the market came up where more expensive properties sold. So they looked at, different percentage of price points. I'll get the numbers for you right now, but there were more expensive properties sold this month, right?
More expensive properties sold.
So that brings up average prices. You've got, seasonal stuff. You've got different things like that. But anecdotally, when I'm looking at the sales price, even when there's 20 offers, I'm not seeing a price that somebody overpaid for. And what's his name? Vince doing the Owl show. I watched his show the other day. He even said the same thing. Nobody's overpaying for real estate right now. Nobody's overpaying. In February last year, people were overpaying. They were overpaying, Darryl. It made no sense. There was no other comp that supported that price. Right now, the comps are supporting all the prices that are being paid.
Comps from when?
From the last 30 days.
From the last 30
Yeah.
days.
So when people are going in, they're saying, hey, that guy he just paid $960.
But are we starting to pay a little more now?
Obviously, there's going to be a case by case situation where people might pay a little bit more, but there's also going to be situations where people paid less in February than they did in January. Same house.
Okay. So what I was when you first mentioned stats, what I was gonna mention that might make me look stupid, which I don't know how we went on a tangent there. The amount of active listings versus new listings, if you look at the correlation between the two in 2023 and then in 2022, they're like inverted, they're opposite, right? You have, and I'm trying to understand what that actually means. So you have more, hold on, let me just pull it up again.
So ready for the number?
Maybe I'm just stupid, right? Because like you have, it says new listings 8,367, and you have active listings of 9,643, which to me means 1,300 or so listings like rolled over from the last month, right? Yep. Like didn't get sold from the last month. But when I look at 2022, I have 14,000 new listings and I only have 7,000 active listings. What the hell does that mean?
There's less. Sorry, Darryl, I wasn't paying attention.
14,000 new listings and 7,000 active listings.
Yeah. So new listings that came up were newly listed. Some of them could have been sold or terminated, right?
So by the end of the month, there was only 7,000.
How many active listings there were. Yeah. And obviously with only 4,700 sales, not all of that differential was sold properties, right? So some of them came off the market.
So, but what
people list, they try the offer date, it doesn't work, then they relist. Well, then they drop the price. That's 3 listings. Could have happened all in 1 month.
Right. So, but right now, what we're seeing is that about 13% of the listings roll over into the next month. I don't know if that's good or is that bad. Like there doesn't seem to be much inventory, and it sounds to me like if 87% sell, like most things are selling. I mean, some of it has to be shit that no one wants or overpriced, right?
So active listings is what you track. So you got active listings, which is 9,299. And the sales were only 3,100. Am I in January right now? I'm sorry.
You're definitely not in February.
That was January. Sorry. My bad. Active listings 9643. and we had 4,783 sales. So you got 2 months of inventory. That's what you track.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, is the months of inventory is insane. Like,
yeah,
we're
so
still in a
so if I go back to
seller's
January
market.
now, just to give you the info where the market's trending, you got 9,300 active listings at the end of January with 3,100 sales. So you're at 3 months of inventory. So the inventory has gone from 3 months of inventory down to 2 months of inventory in that month.
In 1 month.
Yeah. So inventory's shrinking, which is what everybody's saying. We're all seeing the same thing. There's a lot of pain out there. Like, there's a lot of pain out there. Power sales. Another one, so I sold a property that was going power sale. It ended up not closing because they ended up finding more debt, and they couldn't close the deal. And so they, I'm trying to help these people. I try to do everything possible to make this work for them. We have a buyer. We do everything right. I'm like waiving my commission. There's nothing we can do here, right? So there's zero options as far as helping these people. But then they called me this week and said, well, we've got somebody now. So the writ of possession is March 6th. So they got 2 days left before the bank takes over and the lender takes over. But they've got a guy who's going to give them the money and is connected to them somehow. And he's going to now be over leveraged, or he's going to be leveraging other properties to be able to buy this property that's underwater. So for example, he would be buying a property. It's expensive property, but just for numbers sake, he'd be buying a property that's worth 400,000, but he'd be paying 500 for it. So he's got about 20% more debt on the property, or money into the property, than what the property's worth.
To help these people out?
To help them out. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. So they needed a release from the contract and all that. So we gave them the release and said, good luck. I hope it all works out for you. But I mean, those are the stories I'm dealing with. The people that were in the snowstorm last night too.
Oh, why
going power sale, private lender, like the lender passed away. This whole story from last night, I could keep going on here. I'm just trying to keep the information confidential for them, but like the private lender, passed away.
And then the estate and his
family
a
year ago, and his family are like, well, we want the money. Like, you haven't paid us anything for a year.
God.
Yeah.
Well, why wasn't he paying for a year? Because
there was nobody to pay. There was no terms. It was a weird little friend type of deal. Like, I'll help you out, and I'll just register personal loan registered as a private. Anyways, these are the things that are going on out there. There's so many of these power sales left, right, and center.
Are there
on the board? Yeah, tons of them. All mix, private lenders, things like that. No, I haven't seen any banks.
All secondary lenders are pulling all the trigger.
C type lenders.
Not even type lenders.
C. Private mix, people who you don't want to be owing money to in this market because of their interest rates. Right.
That is too bad. Speaking of interest rates, are we gonna pause? Are we pausing, or are we pausing? Or do you think maybe we're pausing?
I think we've paused. I don't think it's like,
well, I mean, you can unpause. I mean,
you can unpause, I guess. Yeah.
Can't they just go 25 bips? Boom.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that the markets and everybody's agreed. Not only is it the right thing to do to be able to wait and see how the market reacts, but also becomes now acceptable. Because remember, the Bank of Canada is getting all this social pressure too, right? They're hearing from everybody, right? So they're getting a lot of pressure from people on both sides. One, raise rates because we want inflation to come down, because my business, my life, my job, my gas, everything like that's getting out of control.
And then
they're getting the pressure from people saying cost of the dollar, value of the dollar, all that kind of stuff. Then they get the pressure from people saying, look, I'm paying these mortgage payments that you told me would be low forever, and now they're going up, and now I can't believe you're doing this to me, right?
You motherfuckers.
From both sides. But as of right now, because we've seen inflation cool a little bit and the value of the dollar is reasonably stable, the rest of that side of the pressure has been off, and so people are kind of like, yeah, if they pause here, we're okay to wait and see as well too. And so now they're feeling like that's the right thing to do, and that they're not getting too much pressure from outside.
So one of the things that this realtor said to me is like, when they pause again next week, man, watch what happens. Like, because this thing's on fire now. He's like, wait till you see what happens when they pause again. He goes, it's going to be crazy. So I said, well, then I guess I'll just wait a little bit longer then, won't I?
You're so sly. You know,
not sly. It's so crazy. Like
one of the things that people are just, I guess, you know, me and you have talked about that. I'm going right back to the basics here, okay? Because I keep getting influenced by all the mega bears out there. The market, okay, in Toronto especially, but Canadians as a whole, is driven by insatiable amount of demand. No matter what, people want houses. They're working around the clock for housing. They're saving for housing. They're investing for housing. Everything they want to do is for housing.
Everything they want to talk about.
Okay, it's all about housing. And so when they have the ability to get money and they can borrow, they will. As long as they're able to, they will. Okay. And so right now, the bank is still lending. There is still money out there. There is still opportunities. So even though the rates have gone up, people are still qualifying because they have jobs. People are still able to spend. Rents are higher than ever. Vacancies are near all-time lows.
Amortizations are longer than ever. If there was
amortizations on existing, like if you've already got an existing property, then they're going up, but not for a new mortgage, right? They're still 30-year max. But the main thing is that you've got people who are out there right now with this demand saying, I want to buy a house and I'm going to buy a house and I don't care what the market's doing, I'm going to do it. And as long as that exists, the inventory will get swallowed up. Are there going to be a massive amount of condos coming to the market this year? Are there going to be a massive amount of people who are underwater and are forced to sell and that'll flood the market with listings? Maybe.
Are there that many people that are sitting around with $500,000 or more in cash to buy $1.5 million to $2 million house that can afford $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month for their mortgage payments?
Yes.
That many.
There's that many. I know.
Where the fuck are they coming from?
We have so much money here in Toronto. It's crazy.
It's crazy what's
I
going
feel
on.
broke when I am in most of the circles.
Everywhere
that I
go, I look around and
I'm going like, how much money do you guys got? And I'm talking to construction guys who are like $500,000 a year. My business is doing this and that. I'm just like, what is going on out there right now?
What is going on? It is crazy. Everybody's super wealthy here.
They got everybody. That's got
so
I eat out once a week. That's it, man. I can't afford it.
You can what?
I can eat out once a week. That's it.
You eat out like lunch every single day.
No, I mostly have protein shakes during the day. When I do eat lunch, it's a shawarma. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you had like a shawarma every single day.
It's the only time I buy lunch is shawarma, but I try to just do protein shake. Make it at home. It costs me like 50 cents a scoop, Darryl.
Aren't you out and about all the time, hustling right now?
I live in such a perfect location for my job. It's just right by the 401, right by, east, the west.
But aren't you doing like presentations all the time now?
No.
Why?
I do. I'm going. I got one on Tuesday. I'm down in the beaches and I got to go to Thornhill. I go places.
So, but it's not like, I feel like from some of the other realtors that I talk to regularly that like seem to be pumping out more content lately. Like maybe people they just don't know how to work that hard in this industry. Like it's like I'm overgeneralizing TK, okay? And you're obviously excluded from this batch,
So
okay?
you're let's go down another road. So this will be something that we would put on the channel, but this actually came out on my other channel to be released. Would be maybe would be
again
would be a video that we had this week where they were talking about like realtors are great at working hard. If you get somebody to knock on doors, make some calls, all that kind of stuff, they're very good at like being able to do that. They have that type of work ethic. There's work to be done, they'll do it. But as far as like being thoughtful on how they do the work and what the effort, reward is going to be and how much and how efficient they're going to be, that's where I think a lot of them are struggling, right? Is they were able to put out that same level of work before and get a lot of business from it. Now, you can't just be working hard. Now you have to be working hard. You have to be building relationships. You have to be really, really out there making sure that people are being cared for. And if you're not, like nobody needs you, because the people who I'm dealing with there they all need a lot of help. There is no more easy deals. I'm just ready to buy. I'm just looking to sell. Don't worry.
You need to be
None
creative.
of that stuff is happening anymore.
I get the feeling that
people
that there's some guys like telling younger realtors regularly that like, it's just about the amount of time you're on the phone every day. Because it seems like, I don't know, like there doesn't seem to be a reason to be on the phone all day and just constantly talking and talking. But I feel like a lot of realtors, like that's kind of like their plan is like, just keep making calls, just
on
keep
the phone,
talking, keep going, have a lunch, have a breakfast, have a coffee, keep going, keep going.
Do a podcast.
Something's gonna come of it. Something's gonna come of it.
Yeah.
Something's gonna come of it. It's like, I guess that's how you work in real estate.
Yeah.
Is that how you do it? Like, what else is there to it? I mean, nobody really does all their paperwork properly. They have somebody in the office that goes, okay, can you go back and like get this fixed and this was fucked up
happens.
and this, right?
That may or may not be true.
May or may not. Well, I'm pretty sure it's very true. And I imagine that a lot of times they get a contract in the office and they're like, holy shit, like this is illegal, or like we got to get this out of here, or we got to put this in here somehow. Like, because I've seen a lot of APSs done by realtors, and funny enough, is that supposed to be a mole floating just beside your head there? Is that added on? I like the robber better. What the hell was I talking about? You've distracted me completely.
That's the point.
Well, I guess we'll have to edit that in.
No, realtors and their paperwork.
There's no training, man. There's no training. I guarantee you, they in the Humber training course, they don't make an APS. Like they should 20 times it should be like, okay, go write an APS. And then somebody should grade it, but it's all just like multiple choice questions.
Until you can write it really well, you don't even get an opportunity to do it. So the article that I was telling you about was it's a CBC article, why some Canadians are buying houses without the help of a realtor. Do you need a real estate agent?
Do you need a real estate agent? Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm saying, like, do most people?
Yes. Technically, no.
Does everybody?
No.
No way, man. Like, the best deals that you're going to get is a private sale. If you want to get a really good deal on a property, the best thing you can do is go direct to the seller, because one, they're not going to have somebody there to guide them to make sure that, you know, they are getting the most. Two, there's no commission payable, so they'll probably take that into consideration. Three, there's nobody else competing with you because no one else knows about the listing because they've only got a sign on the lawn, right? So if you're a buyer and you can buy a deal privately, 100%, that is the one of the best ways to get a good deal. Now, if this is your first time buying a house and you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you might be going down a road that there's no good destination here. You know, that's the truth. But if you're experienced, like, you know, yourself, or even just somebody who's bought a house a couple times and knows what the process is like, honestly, like if you're a buyer right now and you're frustrated and you're saying, oh my God, I can't find a house, and yet you're not knocking on doors and you're not chasing down for sale by owners and you're not asking friends and family if they know anyone looking to sell, I mean, are you really doing everything you can to be able to find the right property? Like guys like we had on the show, like Austin and other guys who are like into that wholesaling and stuff like that. They have systems and drip campaigns and all sorts of stuff, making sure that they find people who are looking to sell properties at much lower prices than what they would sell for on the MLS. Right?
Every time I've called a for sale by owner sign, like they were just out to lunch and crazy. And they definitely weren't discounting the fact that there was no realtors involved. They were hoping to scoop that, if anything, right?
Yeah.
But if you have half a brain, you don't want to get into that because it's a mess. And it's like a rabbit hole from hell that you can get locked in for a while. But
did you see the other article about how it's like these environmentalist groups are saying that we have already enough homes, enough land to build, and that we don't need to use the green belt or expand outside the urban boundaries?
I don't know if they're activists. They're just normal people. I see a lot of normal people like on TikTok going like, hello, there's something shady going on here.
The group who did the study's name is let me look it up.
I have to edit this, TK, like crazy.
No way, it's fine. This is all natural stuff here, right?
Fucking
so
dead.
Environmental Defense, the report released by Environmental Defense. Come on.
Environmental Defense.
Environmental Defense released a report. Of what? The Environmental Defense, I clicked on the link. They're called environmentaldefense.ca. Okay. Protecting Ontario's environment, yours to protect. So they did a study, okay, where if you look at their blog, they have like one article and it's this one. And so they basically have just done a study to say, I mean, it's a very like logical study where they said, okay, how much land is out there, what land is owned, what land is suitable for development, what's in the urban boundary already, what land has maybe even been cited for more density, but just hasn't been acted upon. And the flaw with this is who owns the land?
Yeah, is it even for sale?
But that's the difference. Is it could all be developable, but if it does not, if the owner has no intention of developing it, then what good is that land to be developed?
That's
right?
why
We know the land that was released from the Greenbelt and these other areas were targeted specifically for their ownership. Okay.
But TK, which apparently I say your name too often.
Too much, Darryl. Stop saying my name.
I love saying your name. I say it in my sleep, TK.
I heard.
This plan must have been put into effect more than like a couple of years ago, because some of those properties have been owned for quite some time, have they not? I know some have been more recent than others.
Most of them were bought around the time when the Greenbelt was enacted. The Greenbelt Act was enacted.
That's what I'm saying.
Most of them. So it was bad timing for them. Is that the government switched?
Was it
bad timing back then? Yeah, most of them that I know about. But then there are a bunch that over the years have been bought for dirt cheap. But then there was a few that have sold within the last 18 months.
I still
Suspicious
think
transaction.
I think if you look back in history that it was way further back, and
though I just know about the ones that I've been looking at in the East End. I haven't been looking at elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, why would
my dad's got a guy who
why would you keep the land for like 10 years or more if you didn't think that this was going to happen, or didn't know that this was going to happen at some point, or didn't think that you could influence it happening at some point?
Two reasons. One, either you paid dirt cheap and so you didn't care and hanging on to it made sense anyways, or B, you overpaid and there was no way to get your money out over the last 20 years because no one would pay you because you bought it as developable land and then it became undevelopable.
And in the end, both scenarios worked out beautifully.
Yeah.
For a couple of families.
Yeah. So I got another closing.
Okay.
I got another closing where the tenant didn't leave.
The tenant didn't leave.
Darryl. Yes. And she's got a lot of stuff and she smokes and she's paying well below. She's paying like 33% of market rent.
I got a feeling there's going to be feces on the walls, TK.
And you know, I went over everything with them. We were doing the offer. You know, we had everything under control. And then in the final layer of negotiations, the seller said, well, I'll agree to this. And if I get this, I'll do this. And it was like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And they felt like that was a big enough piece of a pie on the one side to be able to put the shovel in the ground on the other side. And sure enough, it didn't, they lost the bet.
What the hell are you talking about? Bets and shuffling? What?
Well,
what happened here?
They said that they were going to get rid of the tenant. And so they ended up getting, a better piece of the pie.
What the hell are you talking
But now
about?
they can't get rid of the tenant. So they're going to have to work on that.
There's ways to get rid of the tenant.
No, this tenant, they've done everything. And it's now at the point where it's like harassment. The
Harassment.
Yeah. Like money's been thrown at her. She's like, I got nowhere to go. I'm not taking your money. Wow. And she's right. Like, think about it. If you're paying 33% of market rent and the average one bedroom's $2,000, so you're paying $666 a month. Okay. Now, over 1 month, you got like $1,300 worth of rent increases to pay. So over 1 year, you're at 160,000 almost. 16,000 almost. Sorry. Okay. So $16,000 a year. And you're 50. And you're thinking, I'm going to live till I'm 70. Right? It's like $320,000 of extra rent that you're going to have to pay because you moved.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make sense.
Or
to
is it
move.
because you stayed in the same place for too long? How about that, TK? You overstayed your welcome in your cheap abode, and you
Well,
didn't
I mean,
get
what's wrong with that?
acclimated
Good,
to
good for
market.
the tenant.
Fantastic.
Good for the tenant. Bad for
But
the
when
landlord.
it's time to move, guess
Yeah.
what? You take a fucking wallop,
Right.
man.
And so
Wallop.
I have a couple of different situations that we've been dealing with cash for keys lately, and having amazing luck. But this one is definitely one of those ones where, yeah, she knows what she's doing. And landlords, I think, undervalue this. They think like, oh, I'm gonna give them first and last month's rent, and I'm gonna do this. No, you got to be like 8 to 10 times rent factor minimum,
Depending on where and
depending
what
on the
building,
rent. Yeah,
right?
and the
Yeah,
lower the rent that the tenant's paying, the
oh God.
more X factor you need to throw at them in order to be able to make it work.
I looked at buying this beautiful apartment building on Royal York, just south of Bloor. It was
Yeah.
so well kept and just so beautiful. Old and like had room for more units, and it just had all kinds of potential, right? The rents were so stupid low. I couldn't believe it. And for like 20 something years, these like European out of town owners didn't raise the rents. Then like they finally found out that they could raise the rents, and they started raising the rents. But like everybody in that building had a vested interest to keep those rents low and keep their mouths shut, and make sure nobody raised those rents.
Good for them.
Crazy beautiful place, and like people were paying $600-750 a month for a 2-bedroom, like crazy cheap prices. So yeah, how do you ever get those people out if your plan is to get them out? You can't.
You got, well, one, like it's got to be on both sides. So you have to be looking at them like they're human beings. They need a place to live. You can't just be like, take your money and go, I don't want to see you. You need to go and find
You can try
another place that's similar to theirs, that's going to meet their lifestyle, hopefully improve their lifestyle. So if they're going to be living closer to family, live closer to their job, live closer to transit, maybe they've got accessibility issues, they need to have maybe a ground floor. Go out there and do what's necessary to find this person a better place to live, so that when you do come to them with an offer, you can say, look, this is where I can move you to. I have everything in place and I can make this work. Right. So now there's a little bit of, oh, for me, I have to pay more money. No problem, because I'm moving into a better situation for myself. That's the very first step. If you're not doing that, you're going to be paying a lot more money than you need to. Then you figure out, okay, what's your moving costs? What's your first and last? All that kind of stuff. And make sure that they don't feel the brunt of the expense.
So, but you're talking about like tenants that are living in somebody's basement or something like
anywhere,
that?
1-bedroom apartment,
but you're not talking
whatever it is.
But you're
apartment
not talking
buildings, everything.
Yeah, everything. Okay.
Everything. It doesn't matter what it is. You find the connection that's going to make the tenant say, that's a better place for me. What are you going to help them with? What are you going to do? Once you find that out,
it's
you
different
can go
when there's 20, 30, 40 of them than one.
Well, you work with them one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
if you buy an apartment building and you get your managers in there and you start working one by one.
I see guys buying buildings with like 30, 40, 50 people in them. There's some deals I've seen. I worked on 100 units that have to be rental replaced. It's like, so like those people,
you get a good price on the building, it works.
Well, you got to bring them
price
back,
on the land,
but you got to put them somewhere. It's like, yeah, no, this is young and Bloor. I mean, actually, it was a pretty good price, but long time ago.
Me and you were talking about that this week, right? You were talking about an N13 for something.
That's for my new deal.
Yeah, right. So N13s.
I got some tenants in some of these houses, so I got to figure out what to do with that.
Yeah. So I mean, the N13 protects the tenant, and figure out what it is that makes sense for them, and try to work with them. Right.
I feel like some of this is a little selfish from the tenants. Like, I think the developers should be allowed to relocate people in order to provide more housing for more people. It's like you're sacrificing a few for the greater good. I'm sure that won't be a popular opinion with people, but I mean,
well, the other thing too, for your type of developments, is you're talking years before that unit would become available again for these people.
That's the crazy thing is like,
Yeah.
you get
So
like, what the fuck is
what are
this
they going
whole
to do? They're
thing?
like, I'm going to go sleep on a couch until the
Not
building's
only
built.
that, even if they don't want it, you still have to put it back in
I know.
at this like ridiculous price and these stupid sizes. Like the whole thing doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you buy the thing right, then it's a line item and it's just another stupid thing to deal with.
That's it. That's that part of the building.
That's it.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to deal with this
Someone's
at
gonna have to
some
live with
point.
those guys. Anyways, I'm a little insensitive this week just because I've been dealing with a lot of those people, and I mean it's always illness. It's never, it's never like bad people. Like there's always just like an underlying illness that they're suffering from that makes them live in these conditions. And you hear the stories about how they first. I got the house I'm putting on the market Monday too. It's another hoarder situation. All I deal with hoarder houses.
Really?
I don't know. It's
Why
just
are
what
they
I
all
seem
for
to get
sale
lately.
now?
I just keep getting them. I don't know. So literally the
But are they
closing yesterday,
all not paying rent?
the apartment building that had to extend and my new listing on Monday were all like severe hoarder situations.
But
severe, like
that
the
stop
most you've
paying
ever seen.
rent. Like, why are these people selling the houses? It's their
Two
houses they're
two
selling.
were owner occupied, and the other one was
Owner-occupied
the
hoarders.
apartment that, and she's paying rent. Of course she is. She's paying 33% of market rent. She pays it on time every month.
Feel like you're doing it again, TK. I feel like you're this is like one of those arrogant sighs moments where you're like complaining about all the listings you have to work on.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh,
there's
everybody
no
else.
here.
Do you know, TK, that
I'm
there are
telling you
realtors out there? If you look at these stats, if you look at the volume of dollars that's different compared to last year, and you look at the volume of sales that's down, like guys are dying out there. Realtors' incomes are dying. And you week after week come in here going, oh, I was on vacation, I had to deal with this fucking firm offer I got, like so ridiculous. And like now I'm buried up to my eyeballs in listing after listing after listing. And the worst part of it, I have to work at it now.
First of all, I don't think the top agents took a hit last in 2022.
No, I think they got stronger.
I think all the top agents seem to have just as good as the year as ever.
What about the ones that pretend that
people who are part-timers didn't sell that one or two listing that they might have before?
I think the pretenders are starting to realize that this is
I'm
not
really sure,
exactly what it was cracked up to be in their heads. Like it's just not, you really do have to work. I don't know if it's phone calls, but like you got to be networking one way or another, because like, what's the chances that someone in your network is just going to be ready to sell their place, right? Like that network's got to be growing and growing and growing. Yeah. It's high that they're going to want to sell their place.
If you have a big network. I see what you're going with that. Yeah. So percentage of people, it's very low. But
most people, they know a few people. And in the last few years, they got some listing from like some Facebook media or whatever the fuck. And it was nothing. And now it's like, oh boy.
You know what's the worst question a realtor can be asked? So you go to a party, or you go to a party, or you go to like an event or something like that, right? You go to your hockey game or your family gathering or kids baseball practice.
What do you do for a living?
That would be actually maybe even worse than this one. Are you still in real estate?
Are you still in real estate?
Are you still in real estate?
Is everything okay?
Right? It's a bad question when realtors get that.
Yeah. Still in real estate?
Yeah. Of course. The market's crazy. What are you thinking about doing?
Right.
Why?
Why?
Right?
Why do you want to know?
Yeah, because if chances are people are asking you that, it's because they either haven't seen you sell anything or hear you talk about it or do anything, and that's an issue.
That's interesting,
right? Because you can't be a secret agent. That's the main thing. It's like you got to be out there. You got to be everywhere you go. You got to at least be willing to give people free real estate advice. That's at the very bare minimum.
The fake phony agents out there are now like, oh shit, like what the hell?
Yeah.
There's not enough idiots out there anymore selling their houses to go with those people. Because I guess, like, did people have to go with these idiots because they genuinely felt like they should, or like were the good people too busy, or the good people weren't out in their faces?
The most important thing about realtor selection, okay, it's the number one criteria.
This episode brought to you by coconut water.
This is the number one reason that people hire a real estate agent. Okay. Ready for this? Realtors who are listening?
I think they have to.
Because they were there.
Because they were there.
Because they were there.
What if there was 3 of them there? What if you have a sister?
But you might, hey, your odds are 1 in 3. But if you weren't there, what are your odds?
Right. Well,
1 in 73,000.
Maybe more.
That's how many agents there are. Okay. So that's it. Just like they're not gonna go. I'm there. I'm in your life. I'm on your fridge. I'm in your magazines. I'm on the bus shelter. You're there. And so because you were there, the person thought of you. You got an opportunity. Maybe you were the only guy they called. Maybe they called 10. I don't know, but you got a chance. And if you're not there, and there's nobody who knows your name, and people come up to you and say, what do you do for a living? Then chances are you're not going to be able to get those calls.
Oh, you're saying that that's a bad question because they don't already know what you do for a living. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah,
that you're marketing? No.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, when you're at a party and you meet somebody and they say, like, what do you do for a living? That opens up the door for you to run your fucking mouth.
Of course. So in that situation, that's a good question. But it's when people already know that you're in real estate and they come up to you and say,
right,
are you still in real estate?
But what about if it's like you're
You still doing that real estate thing there, Jim?
Can you imagine people walking up to Frank Leo and going, what do you do for a living? He'd be pissed, no? That they didn't already know because of how much he spends on making sure they know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's but it's going out for lunch with him. It's definitely like a celebrity.
Right. He knows everybody.
No, everyone knows him.
Everybody knows him.
People are lining up to get like autographs and stuff, selfies.
Wow. Look at that. The power.
I had my claim to fame. We were there at the restaurant and then, I know you, right? And so then we're walking out.
What happened? I don't understand. What were you
just
saying?
like people in the restaurant were like coming up to him and saying hi and different things. Yeah, not me.
I thought.
And
you were
so
saying
I'm like, whatever, let's just try to enjoy our lunch. And so we're walking back to the car.
Somebody was going to recognize you. Were you like somebody's going to recognize
We're
me?
walking back to the car, and all of a sudden you hear, TK,
I'm your #1 fan. Did they knock you out with a hammer and throw you
when I was
in
a kid?
trunk?
Like I haven't seen this guy forever, but he's on Facebook, so he recognized my face. I guess he like ran up to me to shake my hand to tell me like hi. I think he was a valet guy. He was doing the valet, and I was just like, hey man, how are you? And he looked at me and he's shaking my hand and oh yeah, good. And then he looks at Frank and he goes, I know you.
Crazy.
And I was just like, all right, let's get out of here.
Celebrities.
Quickly.
Look at you. You get recognized all over the place.
Me?
Yeah, nobody recognizes me ever. I never go out.
You don't go out anywhere.
But then you tell me I'm so super
real estate. They just recognize me from the podcast, and it happened twice. And we'll talk about that until the day we die, Darryl.
Am I social or am I? You tell me I'm like super social, and then you tell me I hide in my house.
Kayla's super social.
Kayla would be so super social if I wasn't such a drag.
Yeah, I think she's the social one, and then she bumps you up a couple levels.
A few levels.
Yeah.
TK, what the hell? Did we even talk about anything today?
Nothing.
Jesus.
Let's just delete this episode.
What about the what about like all these bankruptcies, or I guess they're not bankruptcies yet. They're defaults happening. Like we have this Pinko company in the States, $1.7 billion like default on apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Blackstone just defaulted on a couple of loans, I think in Florida or California, I want to say. Everybody says it's strategic. They want to renegotiate the loan and blah, blah.
That's what it is. Brookfield too. Brookfield's got some issues in a couple places.
Brookfield, and then you got this company I keep talking about in Vancouver. What are they called? Coromandel. I don't know what the fuck it is. Properties out in BC, $700 million.
Yeah,
and like, so I'm so confused because I feel like there isn't really pain going on, and there's all kinds of stupid, crazy people still buying houses all over the place in bidding wars and being stupid and reckless. And you're telling me that, like,
what did I tell you? Individuals are going down for sure.
There's pain all over the place.
I got a receivership. So I got a listing that'll be coming up that's under receivership. So we're working with the seller and the receiver in order to be able to sell a project. And that's all like court monitor type of stuff.
So, but there's no possible way that we're in a real bottom. Like people that say that we're actually in
there's still a lot of dust to settle.
There's got to be. There's got to be. How long have we been going through this now? Like, has it been over a year? I feel like somebody said this has been going on for 18 months now. When did they start raising rates? I don't feel like it was 18 months
February.
ago. I think they announced it maybe 18 months ago, and
Pretty sure the first one was at the beginning of 2022.
So yeah, I guess there's got to still be a bunch of pain left, because these defaults, like, we haven't even felt anything from them in the market, have we? No, there's no way we have. People are just dismissing them, like, and they just happen. And they're like, what about this bank in California that just collapsed completely? Silvergate Bank. Did you hear about that one?
No. What is it?
Just this major bank in California. Their stock went from like $200 about a year ago down to $5 now. And it's like, they're gone. They're gone. They're insolvent. Their depositors have lost all their money. This is crazy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you like woke up and you were like, your DMs are going off and you're getting all these notifications, and it's like, I can't get the cash out of my bank. What's going on? TK, can you get it? All right. We'll talk later. Have a nice day.
So if you're listening to this still, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Darryl's channel. Let's motivate Darryl to make more videos. Put it in the comments. If you really liked Darryl's channel, what was your channel called again, Darryl? Sorry. Frankfurt Report. And if you like the clips,
commercial,
let us know, because it's going to be a motivating factor. We do this stuff for you guys. Believe it or not, there's times where we are like, man, a podcast again, but we don't want to let you guys down. So we're doing it every week. We got lots of guests lined up already this year. And
great guests next week.
Big guests. We're happy to see you guys every week, whether that's face to face or just in the comments.
Go put out your fires, TK.
All right.